I was born 1868, shortly after the Emancipation of Proclamation issued by President Abraham Lincoln. I was born a free woman.
There are so many hidden stories of Black trailblazers and their history. A new film will uncover more about a woman named Sarah Miller and the tremendous impact she had on her own family, who were slaves for more than 200 years.
My family has lived on this plantation for over 200 years. I am Sarah Miller.
The film is called Sharswood Plantation. Yamar Williams and Jeremy Harris are two of the producers, and Sir Wolfdog Lanier French is the author of this book that it is based on. I'm so happy that all of you gentlemen are here today. Thanks for the time.
Thank you. Yes,
Sarah Miller, what an incredible woman, and a relative of yours. This is your personal history.
Thank my mother for that. When she said, Lord, 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 that's your grandfather's mother. And she said, that's Sarah Miller. I sat in her lap, I talked to her, and there she is. And then she started crying.
Because Sarah Miller had made such an impact on her life.
She never thought, I mean, she's 99 years old. She never thought in a century that she would see her father's mother on TV. And I didn't even know who he was because he was gone. And she started telling stories about Sarah Miller. And I said, I need to write a book about Sarah Miller. She told me through the screen, you're my great grandson, you're gonna write my book. And it took me a couple of weeks of thinking about it. And then I was Sarah Miller 24/7. I mean 24/7. Never slept because the words kept coming.
This labor of love right here.
That was my mother's father's mother, right there for history.
And then what it means to you to have Jeremy and Yamar right here bringing it to life as a movie. What made you want to take this story and this book to the screen?
Well, for me, it was the historical significance of it, to be able to bring this story to light and the life that Miss Miller lived. You know what I mean? Her impact on the plantation that she was lived on, and all of the people that she impacted during that time, and the stories that Mr. Lanier has shared with us, man, was so impactful. And we was like, man, this was something that we were honored to take on, this project. And Jeremy, if you can expound on that a little bit.
Well, it was a big opportunity for me because being, of the culture of myself, I had the opportunity to even tell a magnificent story about a woman who helped us get our foundation here in America. And I never had the opportunity to take on something at this magnitude. Everything was kind of mediocre. But when I realized I was able to tell a vision and bring a light to something that no one has ever seen, I was like, it's meant. I want to do it and do my best.
Sarah Miller was the matriarch not only of her family, but really the community of slaves on this 1,300-acre plantation in Virginia. She was born a free Black woman, 1868, but really led so many people through that transition time that was a very painful, difficult time.
Well, what I'm finding out is that even though it was post-Emancipation Proclamation, slavery was still live and real. Plantation owners weren't going to say, time's up, get out of here. There's the gate, go walk.
And so she actually stayed on the property that whole time.
She stayed on the property. She's been in and out of the house that's been featured.
Well, this is an incredible full circle story that it seems too incredible to be true, but in 2020, her great-great-great-grandson?
No, a great-grandson, not a great-great-grandson.
Fred Miller, too many greats.
Right.
Fred Miller, a descendant of Sarah Miller, happens upon a property, wants to get a home where his whole family can be together, and this house is what he purchases, not knowing it's the very house that sits on the Sharswood Plantation where Sarah Miller and his ancestors were for all of those decades.
That's right.
amazing. I think the story goes, because I'm learning also,
Yeah.
I think the story goes that there was an interest in the land around this 10 acres, and a and a slave plantation was found out in the woods. And doing some research, they found out it was the same Miller family of slaves that were living on the Miller-owned plantation. And they did the research from then, and we're here now.
It's almost as if the family was supposed to own that one day. Right. It was rightfully theirs. The main house is still there, and the slave quarters behind the main house are still there, very much intact. And I was reading that they want to make that a place of education.
Yes.
What do you want people to feel from Sarah Miller about this, you know, this force that she was, that impacted so many people at their most difficult times? She really was sort of the backbone of a family that extended beyond her biological family.
Well, I will say this. Sarah Miller wasn't average. She was a very aggressive person, okay? She was a gangster. If in modern day terms, Sarah was not a pushover, okay? So we definitely want to show how she was a major leader in the community through this film, right, as well. This lady's story is the backbone that she had. It was so strong to be able to endure and be such a leader in the community like she was, okay? And these are some of the images that we want to show. We want to be able to show how she was a leader and how she led people to realize that they were actually free during these times.
Some former slaves were still trapped in the mental aspect of slavery and didn't know how to transition from a lifestyle of fear under someone else's control for over 400 years.
A lot of slaves for about 40 to 50 years didn't even understand what freedom was because they were just under a mindset for so long. So with Sarah Miller taking that time and understanding, like, I want to make a difference, I need to educate my people to help them understand where we are, is the pivotal part of the whole thing. Because even during that time, as hard as it was being a black woman, she understood mentally how to get out and what to do. And that's great.
So she was helping educate people about, one, that they were free, and then what that would mean to take those next steps and need the support to do that.
Right. Well, there's so many questions. I mean, how did Sarah Miller learn how to read and write?
Right.
I mean, she had to be a matriarch.
Yeah.
Everybody's coming to you with all their problems. You have to understand their problems and how to communicate that backwards. And also, the life of the average slave with the field work was in the 30s, maybe 40. If you were 40, you were an elder, and you probably didn't live long enough, men or women. Now, Sarah lived to be 80. How did she live to be 80 during times of post-emancipation? How did she get there? What did she do to gain the matriarch status? I mean, that's to get the matriarch status, you also have to have the approval of the plantation owner because you're a leader. So how did she interpret that? And how did she make her way to age 80? That's astonishing that she made age 80, born in 1868. Those are questions I'm still trying to find out.
I'm the matriarch of my family that helped slaves through the roughest times for a black person to be alive in that time period.
What do you hope people learn about Sarah Miller, and maybe to a greater extent just a strong, incredibly independent, powerful black woman like her?
Well, the first thing you learn is that Sarah Miller was never lost, okay? She just came through generations of, I'm trying to think of a good word, a generation of black history that wasn't best, okay, for anybody. But she definitely wasn't lost. I think she'd like to write something inspirational and educational, okay? I didn't set out to do another Roots saga. that's been done and can never be repeated. So I didn't want to go that route. Didn't want to be an extension of Gone with the Wind. Okay, didn't want to do that. So how do you write something positive about slavery? And the more I researched it, the less I could, because there was nothing, I don't think, will ever be positive about 400 years of slavery. So I think she would want the reader to get something positive out of what she's seeing. That may have happened to this country after she died in 1940. So where did it go? So I think she came back for a reason. I don't think it just happened that the great-grandson bought that property. I think that was to be happening, and I think she showed up on that TV screen for my mother to see her and to tell me to make sure you write the book, because you're my great-grandson. So that's where I am right now. Okay.
What do you both hope is the takeaway from putting Sarah Miller and the Sharswood Plantation on the big screen?
I would like to say that I wanted to be a pivotal wake up, because I'm a millennial. I wanted to actually to be an educational platform for us to appreciate where we came from and understanding that there is no excuse at this point in time, because we had plenty of opportunity, and I want to be able to wake up a lot of the lost souls in my generation, because it's a lot of ignorance going on, and I feel like this would give a good foundation to where we can actually sit down and educate ourselves and understand who we are and where we come from.
Well said. Me personally, the historical significance of it, being able to educate the new generation as to the history of Sarah Miller, that we did have matriarchs that had backbones back then, to be able to show that we had courage to withstand those times, okay, and to be a pivotal pillar of change, okay. That's very important, to be able to show that side of things through this production, as well as just the enlightenment as a whole, okay. Yes.
Because it wasn't enough for her just to take care of her few children. She saw the bigger vision, because she saw that as a generation and really empowering the future.
Right.
Thank you for writing the book, and I'm very, very much looking forward to seeing you bring it to life. Thank you all so much, gentlemen. Appreciate you coming in.
Thank you for having us.